Somewhere out here, at the edge of the world, a line begins. A single strand tying north to south.
Oh, it's cold.
It's the longest road on Earth, stretching from the Alaskan Arctic all the way down to the southern tip of South America in Argentina. And we're taking it on with no backup plan, just our 22-year-old van and a dream that we hope is big enough to carry us through every breakdown, border crossing, and unknown that lies ahead. It's the adventure of a lifetime that will take us through 17 countries, 2 hemispheres, and every biome on Earth. This is the Pan American Highway. It's funny how the biggest journeys often begin with the smallest chances. Before the Arctic, before the van, before the dream, it started with a message on Instagram. And just a few days later, it turned into a 1-week spontaneous trip to explore the Pacific Northwest in a tiny Kia Soul. One night, camped beside a quiet alpine lake, we stayed up late watching a meteor shower. Somewhere between the falling stars and the stillness of the mountains, we started talking about the kind of life we each dreamed of. That's when we realized we both had the same wish, to drive the Pan American Highway. It felt like one of those things you say under the stars, not really expecting it to happen. But somehow, it did. Just a few months later, Will flew to Texas to buy our van and drove it home to Washington to start building it out in his driveway. Once the basics were in place, he couldn't wait any longer, so he drove 30 hours northeast to Quebec, where he finished the rest of the build at my place while I continued working my full-time job, trying to save every penny for the big adventure ahead. As time went on, the van build started to come together, and after a few months, we were ready to hit the road. Our first big stop was Niagara Falls. It just made sense since it was right on the way to the border. From there, we crossed into the US and set our sights on our first real destination, Colorado. We arrived in the middle of a snowstorm where our heater immediately broke. It was a rough start, and as we find out later in the journey, it was just the beginning of our heater troubles. I was so excited to explore Colorado, the mountains, the trails, the open spaces. It had been on my list for years, but honestly, we just weren't ready. We were brand new to van life, and diving straight into winter was a little too much too soon. Everything felt harder in the cold, cooking, sleeping, even just getting out of bed. It quickly became clear we needed to head south, so we set our sights on Utah. It was another place I'd always wanted to explore, and there's just so much to see. We started in Arches, trying to hike as many trails as we could, chasing every sunrise and every sunset. I was so excited to finally be out here, living with all this new freedom, and exploring a place that felt almost unreal. Then we made it to Canyonlands, and somehow it was even better. I'd never seen a landscape so wide, layered, and vast, and as good as it looked on camera, it still couldn't touch how it felt to stand there. From there, we headed to Hanksville, an area I'd never even heard of before, an area that just doesn't feel like it belongs on Earth. Every place we explored was unique with different shapes, textures, and colors. It was strange, rugged, and otherworldly. Since the start, we were always on the move, always chasing that next perfect view, and without realizing it, I started to burn out. We were treating this life like it was a 1-week vacation. In what I thought was an attempt to slow down, we stayed in Hanksville area for nearly 2 months. But even then, slowing down just meant skipping a sunrise here and there and maybe not hiking every single day. But it turns out that wasn't enough. By the end of our time in Utah, I could feel it. That constant push to see it all had started to wear me down. My body was tired and my mind was exhausted. After Utah, we made our way to Page, Arizona, where we spent some time exploring cool landscapes filled with more wild textures and rock formations. But by then I was starting to feel a little restless. Flying the drone was great, but I wanted something more hands-on, something that felt like an actual adventure.
Good morning. So we got up at 5 o'clock this morning. It is now 5:30 and we are heading down to the water at Lake Powell, and we're going to be renting some kayaks and kayaking the Antelope Creek paddle.
It was beautiful, and I was glad we did it. But throughout the day, I started feeling this strange, sharp pain in my chest. I brushed it off at first, thinking it was just sore muscles. But by the next morning, I could barely move. It turned out to be costochondritis. It wasn't serious, but it was painful enough to stop everything. I think that was my body's way of forcing me to slow down.
So we made it to the end of our hike. It's about 12 miles round trip. This is what the end looks like, and as you can see, we can't really climb up that. Maybe some people can, but I'm definitely not one of those people.
Once I started feeling a bit better, we eased back in with a few short hikes in Zion. The views were incredible, but my body wasn't ready and my costochondritis flared back up again, worse than before. That's what finally pushed us to actually slow things down in Alabama Hills, California. It felt so good to be back in the mountains, surrounded by another wildly unique landscape. But it didn't take long to realize, resting isn't easy when you're living in a metal box and the heat makes it feel like it's an oven. We spent a little more time here before moving on to the coast of California to rest up more comfortably. Over the next month and a half, we made our way slowly up the coast, finally starting to understand what slowing down actually looked like. It was one of the harder lessons of the trip so far, but definitely not the last. Those first few months of van life were full of big moments, but it was the small, everyday things that started to wear on us most. The things we took for granted back home, like a bathroom just down the hall.
But we found a restroom here and we're hoping that it's open. And that was a fail.
Yep.
We very quickly realized that finding a place to do your business isn't always as easy as you'd hope. Gas stations, public restrooms, digging a hole, it just gets old fast. And that's why we're so excited to share a part of our setup that we wish we'd added way sooner, our Boxio toilet. It's a simple, portable, waterless toilet, and honestly, it's changed the game for us. It separates liquids and solids using a dry composting method, so there's no smell, no chemicals, and no need for plumbing or electricity. You just add a bit of hemp litter after each use and that's it. We keep ours tucked under the bench and we pull it out when we need it. It takes about a minute to set up or pack away, and emptying it is way easier than we expected. We've been using our Boxio for months now, and honestly, it's made van life so much more comfortable, especially when we're parked somewhere remote or just don't feel like dealing with public restrooms. If you're planning a road trip, building out a van, or just want to be a little more self-sufficient on the road, we definitely recommend checking it out. We've got a link in the description if you want to learn more. It's one of those upgrades that might not be glamorous, but trust us, it makes a huge difference.
We're really excited to be back in the mountains. Unfortunately in Washington, it's very early season for a lot of hiking, so a lot of roads are closed, a lot of hikes are still closed, or just really hard to get up. So one of the ones that we decided to come to is High Rock Lookout. Hello. Where are we going? Up there?
Up there. Right up there.
Explain why High Rock Lookout's not even a lookout anymore.
So there was like some conservation group or something that took it down, and they said they're gonna put it back the next year, and we're like 3 years later, and no lookout.
So basically it's High Rock
Platform.
Going on our first backpacking trip after having costochondritis was scary, but I was all healed up and ready for an adventure.
Coming up to the first really epic view of Rainier. Cooking with the view.
From High Rock, we worked our way up through the mountains of Washington. The more we explored, the more excited we got. These mountains were so beautiful, but we knew even wilder landscapes were waiting for us up north. The idea of heading into more remote, rugged terrain was exciting, but it also came with a little nervousness. Would the van make it? What would life on the road look like that far north in such remote wilderness? We didn't know what to expect. We just knew one thing: the north was calling. If you haven't noticed by now, our van looks a little rough. Rusty, spotted up, and honestly, not very aesthetic. Before we headed north, we knew it was time to finally deal with it, so we spent about a week and a half giving Spot a proper makeover, grinding off the rust, patching it up, and giving it a paint job. Being on a budget, it wasn't perfect. All we could afford was some Rust-Oleum paint and a few rollers. But honestly, for $200, we couldn't have been happier with the result, because Spot finally started to look a little more like the adventure rig we'd imagined.
This is our first view with our brand new painted van.
Tonight, breaking news out of Canada. A fast-moving wildfire has burned through more than half of the town of Jasper, forcing evacuations and blanketing parts of Western Canada and the U.S. Pacific Northwest in heavy smoke.
We originally planned on making our way up to the Great White North through the Canadian Rockies, but unfortunately, wildfires in Jasper changed our plans. Instead, we drove north on the Crazier Highway through British Columbia. There was a lot of smoke most of the way and into the Yukon, so we decided to keep pushing north, jumping straight into our biggest van life adventure yet.
We are at the start of the Dempster Highway, about to begin our journey up to the Arctic Ocean and to Tuktoyaktuk. It's a total of 880 kilometers on a gravel road, so it should be quite the adventure.
Yeah, hopefully no flat tires.
This is one of those journeys where you don't really know what's coming. You just start driving and let the Yukon surprise you.
Just here at this rest stop to have some lunch before we fuel up to go on a 2 to 3 hour hike. This is the beautiful view that we have while we have our lunch. It is pretty smoky here. There's quite a few forest fires in Northwest Territories and a few in the Yukon, so that's causing quite a bit of smoke to be here.
After lunch, we hit the trail for a hike up Golden Sides. It's a short one, but the views are breathtaking.
Made it to the end.
Yeah!
Will sometimes thinks he's a mountain goat.
I am a mountain goat.
But the views up here are pretty nice. Very different. What do you think?
I like it. It reminds me of Alaska, but also reminds me of like really high alpine stuff. Really beautiful. You can see for miles, and I love it. Love the green.
After the hike, we kept making our way north and enjoying the views.
So we found our spot for the night. It's a pretty nice spot. We found it on iOverlander. Seemed like it was rated pretty well. We got some nice mountain views around us, and this is where we're gonna stay for the night, and we're gonna make some dinner now.
It's the start of day 2. We had a nice rest here at this beautiful campsite. Today, our goal is to make it up to the Arctic Circle or maybe Northwest Territories. According to Google, that's like 4 or 5 hours, but for us, it'll probably be like 6 to 7 hours. We also want to stop and maybe go for a little hike somewhere and stop at anything worth seeing. Hopefully, we'll see some bears or other wildlife today, so it should be a fun day. We're really excited to hit the road here.
I've seen a lot of rivers, but none like this. Engineer Creek. It was so yellow, we knew it had to be toxic. When we looked it up later, we found that it was. It picks up its color from running through exposed iron, nickel, and zinc deposits in nearby mountains.
Mosquitoes found us.
Yeah, the mosquitoes definitely found us. We've been on the road for a couple of hours now. We stopped quite a few times to take some videos and check out some views. We're here at Ogilvy Ridge. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but that's what we're gonna go with.
Yeah.
And we stopped here to check out this beautiful view. It's a like massive panoramic view of these mountains out here. So far the road hasn't been too bad. Honestly, I've been on a lot worse roads than this one. However, in the last maybe 30 kilometers,
Since crossing the river, the Ogilvy River.
Yeah, it started to get a little bit worse, but still nothing in comparison to the roads we've been on in Utah.
A Prius could do it. It's just going to be a bumpy ride.
Yeah. We just arrived at Eagle Plains and we need to fill up here. Gas is $2.48, so That's gonna be expensive. We don't even know what the diesel price is yet.
Yeah, it's not going to be cheap. This is about the halfway point of our trip, at least halfway to Inuvik. I'm not sure if it's halfway to Tuk.
So the diesel price is $2.39
Per liter.
per liter.
So for comparison, right now down south, it's about like a good price is like $1.65 or something per liter. So, yeah, a lot more expensive to fill up the tank. It would probably be pushing $300 for a full fill up here.
Now we're on the last stretch to the Arctic Circle, where it feels like we've crossed into something new.
We finally made it to the Arctic Circle.
This is the furthest south point where there's 24 hours of sunlight on summer solstice, so the sun never sets at all.
And then in the winter, it's 24 hours of darkness on winter solstice.
And quite a bit more in winter.
This is also the start of the actual Arctic, so things are gonna get a little more tundra-like as we keep going north, and there's less and less communities, less and less people.
Right as the golden light started to hit, we spotted a grizzly just off the road, just minding his own business and filling his belly with berries.
We just spotted our first grizzly, and he's way out there, real tiny, but he's a big boy. We made it to the Northwest Territories.
Hey.
It's about 1 a.m. here. It's getting a little chilly out. We got the moonrise back there.
Still got the sunset glow the other direction. Just saw an owl. Gotta figure out what kind it was, but it's really cool to be to the Northwest Territories. Not many people get to come here, and it's like a place I wanted to come to since I was a wee little lad. So it's very exciting for me, at least.
So now we're gonna find a place for the night, and we'll head back on the road tomorrow morning.
We hit the road early the next morning, and a few hours later rolled up to our first ferry crossing, taking us further into the Arctic wilderness.
We're just arriving at the ferry crossing, our first ferry crossing.
Yeah, crossing the Peely River.
And it looks like there's no wait time for us to go. The guy's calling us over. And
Great. Some seagulls.
alright. Let's pull on and get ready to cross.
Get prime vantage point. Pretty cool.
And we're back on the road again.
We kept heading north and reached our second ferry crossing. It went as smoothly as you could hope. No waiting, just rolled on and crossed over. As we kept climbing north, we started noticing the trees getting smaller and more spread out. And not long after that, we rolled into Inuvik.
We made it to Inuvik, and we stopped in at the recreation center, and we were able to actually get free showers, so it feels nice to be all clean. Yeah, we're pretty eager to get up to the Arctic Ocean, especially since it's supposed to be hot out again tomorrow, and then the next day the temperature drops quite a bit, so we want to get up there while it's still warm.
Yeah, so
That way when we jump in, it's not going to be as cold once we get out. So.
I'm still gonna die.
I don't think he's gonna do it.
Oh, I'm doing it.
But yeah, on our way back down, we will definitely be stopping back in Inuvik and actually exploring it a little bit more. We just spotted 3 foxes.
We were in the Arctic tundra, or we are in the Arctic tundra, so we were super excited thinking it was an Arctic fox. But they were, unfortunately, only red foxes. Still so cute, though.
There's 3 of them.
The wildlife really showed up tonight. It's like everything out here wakes up when the light gets low, quiet all day, and suddenly, wildlife everywhere. Once we hit the tundra, it didn't feel like anywhere we'd been before. The landscape totally changed. Flat, wide open, and so still. It felt like another planet.
We stopped in Inuvik yesterday and kept driving. We drove until about, what?
2 a.m.?
2 a.m.?
Something
2:30 a.m. And we parked at the spot we found on I-Overlander, about a 30-minute drive from Tuk.
That's exciting. Arctic Ocean is only like 12 miles that way. There's lots of polar bears somewhere off in that direction. You probably won't see one, but I have hope.
Yeah, most of the polar bears are probably out on the sea ice, so quite a bit further.
Yeah, but it's a beautiful day for a polar plunge. It actually really feels almost warm enough to go swimming, so it's really great.
As a Canadian, it's definitely warm enough to go swimming. I'm sweating.
About 20 minutes later, we rolled into Tuk, our final stop on the Dempster Highway. It's hard to describe what it feels like reaching a place this far north, this remote, and yet still home to a full community. We spent the afternoon walking around town, checking out the sod houses and other little landmarks that make Tuk special, and our jaws dropped at the insane grocery prices. It's quiet, but there's something really grounded about it. Like life just keeps going on up here, no matter how far off the map it feels. And of course, we had to finish the day with a dip in the Arctic Ocean. It's absolutely freezing, but you kind of don't have a choice. You come all this way. How do you not jump in? It was windy, freezing, and raining the next morning, so no hikes. We settled for a Pingo drive-by and went on a little cloudberry hunt instead.
So we found a few cloudberries so far, but they don't seem to be ripe. They're very yellow. Not quite orangey yet.
That one's sweeter?
Sweeter, but not super sweet.
Okay, like doubleberry. Yeah.
Still pretty sour. There's big seeds inside them. I'd like to try an actual ripe one. Seems like the more ripe ones are a little more orangey. They're interesting. I don't know what they taste like.
A thimbleberry. You can see why they call them cloudberries.
Yeah.
Because when they're ripe, they have like, it's like eating a little cloud. Each little thing's like a cloud.
I don't know how many of you have ever walked out in the tundra before, but it really feels like you're walking on pillows. You gotta watch where you step because the ground is all like this everywhere. Very easy to trip and fall on this kind of stuff. Well, that was really cool. I honestly wasn't expecting to find any cloudberries out there, but for the few that we found, it was still awesome to try it out.
We made our way back down to Inuvik to spend a little more time exploring. We walked around town, checked out some local shops, and stopped by the museum, which had some really interesting exhibits about Inuvik culture and local history. That's where we first learned about kiviat, a super soft underwool from muskox. It's warmer than sheep's wool, crazy light, and insanely soft. We also got a chance to tour the Igloo Church, which has to be one of the most unique buildings we've seen on this trip. Inside, it's simple but beautiful. And to end the day, we found a short trail just outside town and went for a hike. We'd made it to the top of the world, but now it was time to leave the Arctic behind and start making our way down the Dempster Highway. Driving this far north, completing something like the Dempster, felt so surreal. It's not a road most people ever get the chance to experience, and honestly, it felt like a privilege to see it with our own eyes. The beauty up here wasn't just in the views. It was in the silence, the isolation, the feeling of being somewhere that still feels untouched. This is where it really sunk in, that we were actually taking on the Pan-American Highway. From way up here in the Arctic, all the way to the bottom of South America. It feels so crazy that we're doing this, and the Dempster was just our first real test. Our minds couldn't help but think ahead to our plans of taking on the Dempster's sister highway, the Dalton in Alaska, in the winter. We're excited, but also nervous. If the Dempster taught us anything, it's that the road ahead is going to be tough, but it's also going to be an unforgettable adventure. As we make our way back south, the trees come back, the mountains grow taller, and the road led us straight into one of the most breathtaking corners of the Yukon, Kuwani National Park.
There we go. Ready to go? We try to go for a morning walk almost every day. Sometimes we don't get to it, but today we're able to. We got a beautiful view back there. We've stayed at this spot a few nights now.
It's a nice spot. It's close to Haines, and
Haines Junction.
it's flat, has restrooms, has nice views, so can't really complain.
We decided we're gonna walk to that sign and back. We've been wanting to try to get 10,000 steps a day, but that doesn't seem like it's been happening very often.
Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate.
After getting back to the van, we spent a little time editing and going through footage from the day. But the evening light looked too good to waste, so we grabbed our gear and headed out for a short hike.
Today's hike is 4.8 miles and has just a little bit over 1,000 foot of elevation gain, so a bit over 300 meters.
So we made it back to the van. What time is it?
It's 9:10.
9:10. and we're gonna find our spot for the night and then have some dinner. Nice late dinner like usual.
Yeah, we've made a habit of that.
Yeah.
Maybe not a good habit.
Yeah, it's not a great habit, but oh well.
After a few weeks of slowing down a little, we were excited to get back into the mountains. The Haines Highway starts near Kuwani National Park, which gave us the perfect excuse to get our first taste of Alaska. So we drove off for a new adventure. I'm just taking a quick moment to say thank you. If you're still here watching, it really means a lot to us. We put so much time into these videos, and knowing people are out there following along makes all the difference. If you're enjoying it, feel free to give it a like or subscribe. It helps more than you know. And thank you to our amazing patrons. Your support is what makes this whole journey possible, and we're so grateful to have you along for the ride. We spent a few days in Haines. Most people arrived by cruise ship, so on days without a ship in port, things felt pretty quiet. We walked around town, attempted to visit the museum, and just enjoyed checking out the place. It's a small town, but there's enough to keep you interested for a few days. And the views are absolutely stunning.
Today we're at Chilkoot Lake State Recreation Area, and this place is famous for having a lot of bears and a lot of eagles. So we came by here to hopefully see some bears and see some eagles. We already saw a bunch of eagles and one bear, but we're hoping to see a lot more.
Yeah, it's really pretty water. It's about 15 minutes out of Haines, but it's one of the best places I know of to see bears in Alaska that doesn't require a fly-in or boat-in.
And the views here are just incredible.
Should be fun.
We're gonna walk down this road and see what we can see. There's lots of fishermen, but we're hoping to see bears fishing.
Yeah, got our big lenses.
Yep.
Ready to get some awesome shots.
Ready to go. We're gonna head down the road a little bit that way and just check it out.
Krista is all camouflaged here, wearing her Glacial Lake, Glacial River camouflage. I can't even see her. All I see is a pair of white Crocs walking. It's kind of mysterious.
So we're just walking down the road and I heard really pretty bird calls. And I didn't realize that that's what an eagle sounded like. So I thought that was pretty cool. Oh, that was exciting.
Yeah. Saw a couple of bald eagles. I think that takes our count up to like 4 for the day or something. 5.
Yeah. Love bird eagles.
If you come here in November and December, there's like up to like 5,000 bald eagles that gather here in this little area. So that's quite a lot.
That is a lot.
Yeah, I don't think there's anywhere else on Earth where that many bald eagles gather, so it's pretty cool.
This is where we saw the bear and 2 seals. I think we saw 2 seals.
Yeah.
We saw the bear standing right over there at the end, and then the seals were just having a blast swimming on over here.
Then there's some fishermen just down there. This must be the best place to be fishing right now. It's all down the rest of the river, lots of fishermen.
So we only saw 1 bear and about like 5 or 6 eagles at the last place we were at, and now we drove back through Haines, and we're just gonna do this hike called Chilkat State Park Battery Point Trailhead. So you can actually start this trail at the cruise ship terminal, and it'll be around 13 kilometers, but if you want to make it shorter and you have a vehicle or a bike, you can drive down the road a little bit and you'll have only half a hike to do. We finished our hike to Battery Point, and the views were incredible of the mountains by the water. It was the perfect way to end our adventure exploring around Haines. Exploring Haines was a lot of fun. It's a really cute little town nestled in the middle of some really epic mountains. And if you have the chance, definitely check out the Battery Point Trail if you only have a little bit of time here. If you have more time, definitely still check out this trail, but also try to check out some of the other trails. There's some really, really epic ones around here.
One of the things we love most about camping in places like this is the epic views right out the window. Waking up to massive mountains just outside felt pretty unreal, and as a first real taste of Alaska, it couldn't have been better.
We just spent the last couple of days exploring Haines, Alaska, and now we're ready to head back up the Haines Highway to the Yukon. Just down the road from Haines is the Alaska Chilkat Bald Eagle Preserve. It's a 48,000 acre preserve where a ton of bald eagles come every year for the late salmon run.
The Haines Highway ended up being one of our favorite roads of the whole trip. It's the kind of drive that keeps you looking out the window the whole time. Mountains, wide open valleys, and barely any traffic. Just one beautiful stretch after another. Van life has definitely come with a learning curve. It's taken a lot of adjusting, but getting to explore incredible places like this make it all feel so worth it. Every new road we discover reminds us why we're doing this, and how lucky we are to have this chance to take on this Pan-American adventure. We spent a few more days near Haines Junction, catching up on some work and doing a little more exploring around Kuwani. Then we made our way back to Whitehorse to pick up our friend from the airport. We'd been planning something big, and now it was finally time to head into the mountains for an adventure we wouldn't forget.
It's about 10 o'clock in the morning and we're ready to head out on the trail.
Yep.
We have 22 kilometers to go to Canada Creek. So off we go.
Our boots hit the trail, and just like that, we're off. This is what we came for. Epic views, fresh air, and a real sense of adventure.
We're only about a kilometer into the hike. The views are absolutely beautiful.
Phenomenal. Magisterial.
And as Kai said a few seconds ago, what'd you say?
Only 21k more to go.
Yay.
Yay! Alright, we got our first crossing. Me and Kai are gonna go across first.
Are you gonna jump or?
Huh?
Are you
No,
gonna-
I can't jump across that.
Kuwani is a place that doesn't mess around. We knew we were in for a difficult trek in and out, but we also knew that the views would be well worth the pain.
Oh, this is so chill. Like we don't even need to be or anything. This ain't bad at all. It's like barely chin deep.
We made it across. We're alive. It wasn't deep at all. It wasn't hard to cross. The water was just freezing. And Will was brave enough to go across 3 times. Because we recorded with the camera on the other side. Because it made for a nice shot. So he decided that he was going to go back and get it. Thank you, Will.
It's not often you find a hike this beautiful and this flat, so we enjoyed it while it lasted, because we knew it would eventually become a difficult climb. The deeper we got into the trail, the better the views got. Nature just kept one-upping itself. The mountains got bigger and better as we continued. We kept stopping just to take it all in, because honestly, how do you just walk past views like that? Of course, it wasn't all smooth going. We lost the trail more than once, needing to reroute and getting our feet soaked in swamps. But I guess that's all part of the adventure when you're in a place as wild as this.
We're about 2 kilometers from the campground, and our feet are sore.
These weeks.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Will's almost out of
Trail mix.
trail
and
mix.
Granola
So
bar.
is Kai.
Yeah, I finished mine.
I got all mine still.
Self-control 0.
Yeah.
The homestretch got a little more difficult, a little steeper, a little slower, and we're definitely feeling it by then. We'd already hiked nearly 20 kilometers by that point and still had a few to go. We found our spot to set up the tent and tried to get a good night's sleep because we needed it for the next day. We woke up feeling it, stiff legs, cold fingers, and a big day ahead. It was a long one, 21 kilometers, a few river crossings, and a steep incline. We packed our bags, had a quick breakfast, and got moving.
How do you guys feel about making it all across? Yep, made it across. It wasn't bad, was it?
Walking on boulders was a bit of a struggle. Every step took focus. One bad move and you're rolling an ankle. To make it worse, the cairns marking the trail were hard to spot. We spent a lot of time looking at the ground and trying to spot the cairns. Now it was time for the most difficult part of our adventure. It was time to climb about 2,500 feet of elevation in just over 3 kilometers. We knew it wasn't going to be fun, but we knew what was waiting for us at the end would be worth the climb. We finally made it to the tundra, which is surprisingly difficult but fun to walk on.
I can't keep up. You can see it? Oh my god! Oh my god! Wow, that is a river of ice.
There it was, what we'd come all this way for, Kaskawelsh Glacier. Easily one of the most epic views I've ever seen in my life. It's over 70 kilometers long, part of the largest non-polar ice field in the world, and it's been shaping this valley for thousands of years. As much as we wanted to stay, it was time to leave the view behind and start the sketchy descent back down and back to camp. Alright, so we made it back to camp safe and sound last night. The river crossing on the way back was just absolutely miserable. It got insanely windy, it got really cold really quick, and there was like sand just flying in the air everywhere. It was so windy yesterday. I got sunburned and windburned. When we got back, we just
got all so tired that we didn't even have dinner. And when we got to the tent and looked inside, there was just silt absolutely everywhere, covering everything. We had to clean it all off. So you could see here, there's silt all over. The sleeping bags were just covered in this. You could see it all under here as well. We cleaned off our sleeping pads, our sleeping bags. It was just absolutely covered. It was so gross. But then after we're done cleaning and Will was done cleaning up down at the cooking site, he came up and told us there was an amazing Aurora show. So that was really nice to go outside and see this epic Aurora right above our heads. It was green and it was beautiful. We're just gonna chill here for the day. We're all pretty exhausted. We got another night here. We got 3 nights at this campsite. And we decided we're gonna spend the next day just kind of hanging out, relaxing, recuperating, and then we're gonna head back out tomorrow.
After adventuring in Kuwani, we decided to take Kai partway up the Dempster Highway so he can see Tombstone Territorial Park, the Arctic Circle, and at least step foot in the Northwest Territories. When you're this close to an adventure this epic, you just can't pass it up. Summer on the Dempster was beautiful, but autumn was a whole nother level. The tundra had transformed into a patchwork of color. Reds, oranges, yellows, like a bag of Skittles had exploded across the landscape. The colors weren't just in the trees. They were in the ground, the hills, the brush, like the earth itself was changing. It was one of the most magical and surreal displays of fall I'd ever seen. As we kept heading north, it felt like the seasons were shifting right in front of us. The bright colors quickly faded into muted browns, and we could feel an extra nip in the air. It was wild, like we'd driven through an entire season and arrived at the edge of winter in just a day. Dawson City is one of the most unique towns we've seen on this trip. At its peak during the Klondike Gold Rush, it grew to around 30,000 people, making it the largest city west of Winnipeg and north of Seattle. But now, 100 years later, it feels like nothing has changed. The town made a real effort to hold on to its Gold Rush character, from the buildings to the boardwalks, even keeping the dirt roads. It feels authentic because it actually is. Walking down Front Street feels like stepping into history. We also stopped into Diamond Tooth Gertie's, Canada's oldest casino. It's part gambling hall, part can-can show, and all kinds of weird fun. It was definitely one of the more memorable experiences we had in town.
We are 20 minutes outside of Dawson City in the Yukon, down Eldorado Road at free claim number 6.
Yep.
Yes.
We're gonna strike it rich today.
Yeah, we are.
Golf balls.
We got
Yeah.
some gold pans. We bought these at the trading post in Dawson City. They were $19, and I think $15. And you can also sign some out at the visitor center
For free.
for free.
They just don't have any ripples.
Yeah, these ones have the riffles, and we got a sifter, so hopefully that helps us with our panning process. But
I think we're gonna get a new van with this. I'm thinking like a brand new 2024 Sprinter. It's gonna be great. I'm excited for it.
and Kai's gonna get his first van.
Yeah. Quitting my job is becoming a full-time gold miner, so
Yep.
that's the goal.
Mhm.
10 grand and we're quitting.
Yep. I'm ready for my football-sized nuggets. Kai and I, we can pass it about while Krista records.
Yeah, I'm gonna record. I might try some sifting. I got some tweezers because I'm gonna be the picker. And we got these little vials for $1 at the trading post. So we're gonna put our findings in here.
And it's a beautiful day. Like all the fall colors, it's absolutely gorgeous. Couldn't be a better day to pan and strike it rich.
All right, you ready to see what we find?
Yep.
Let's go. Will's going across on that log over there. That doesn't really look like a safe way of path to me. They're not too bad.
Good stuff. I don't know how they do it.
They vigorously shake it.
Yeah. Oh, is that a nugget? No, it's not.
Imagine.
Yeah.
Look at Will.
Oh my god, I don't think I can.
He's gone back.
Oh no.
Oh my god. He made it.
That's how they do it.
Yeah, they go deeper.
Someone's done a lot of work, so maybe this was somewhere they found the finest stuff. So we've been struggling with the panning techniques. It's a little bit tricky, especially for beginners, which we all are. And so we're gonna try a little bit of a cheating technique. Basically, we're gonna sift down this dirt, which we got from the piles over there, which supposedly was brought as unmined dirt, brought for people to pan here. And we're going to sift all these rocks out until we've got about 3/4 full of the gravel. And then we're going to pan it like under, similar to how we would have, just agitating it to get the gold to sink the bottom. And then we're going to take the layers off with our fingers instead of the water because it's a little bit easier that way. We've gotten down to a lot less sand, and now we're kind of, what we're doing is we're getting a little bit of water, sloshing really good, agitating here, and then just kind of hitting the pan against our hand until it kind of gets over the ripples. And then we're kind of just taking this very top layer and repeating.
Got gold. Very tiny speck of that.
Are we rich now?
Yeah. Can buy a mansion.
You can see our gold. Those are our gold specks. They are magnificent. You can see there's at least 3 of them in there.
Leaving Dawson City felt like wrapping up one chapter and starting another. We've been talking about Alaska since the beginning, and now we're finally heading there.
Well, it's officially time to say goodbye to the Yukon.
It's been fun. I've really enjoyed it.
Got the border crossing right over there in the middle of nowhere.
Pretty cool.
See how that goes. Yay. Well, that was the most chill border crossing ever. We got to the border guard and he literally just asked if we were bringing anything from Canada. And Will was like, nope. And we got rid of all of our produce. And he just went and inputted our information and sent us on our way. One question and that was all. And yeah.
Can't complain.
Yeah, I'm not complaining. I'm just shocked. Like, I'm always so nervous for border crossings, but that was just, yeah, interesting.
Ultra chill. It's the way we like it. Alaska! We didn't bust. We made it.
We followed the top of the World Highway, taking in the views, and eventually made it to Chicken, a tiny town with a big personality.
Well, we made it to Chicken.
Yeah, it was a beautiful drive, lots of fall colors, and it's quite an interesting little town for what we've seen so far. Apparently back in the day, when the miners were trying to name the town, they couldn't figure out how to spell ptarmigan. It is a difficult word to spell, so I have a lot of sympathy for them. But ptarmigans are a little bit like chickens, so they're like, we'll name it Chicken, because chicken's easy to spell, and I respect that. I think that's how all names should be decided on.
Maybe. But we've heard there's great pie here, so we decided to stop by and see if we can get some pie.
Well, Chicken is famous for its pie, and we thought we were out of luck because apparently pie was done for the season, but we actually got the last 2 pieces of the entire season here, so this is a really gonna be a treat, and it looks really delicious. Can't wait.
That's some cherry pie.
It's not overly sweet, which I like.
Exploring Chicken didn't take long, but it was worth it. A mix of mining history and oddball charm in the middle of nowhere.
Well, Chicken was fun for the 10 minutes it lasted.
Yeah.
It's a pretty small place, not much to do, but if you're passing through, definitely stop by for some pie, check out the gift shops, and maybe try out some gold panning if you have the time.
Pretty cool little town. It's beautiful in fall, beautiful weather, and a cool place to stop on your way to or from the Yukon.
Now we're gonna continue our drive and head on to Fairbanks.
We continued along top of the World Highway, right in the middle of peak fall. The colors were unbelievable. Every hillside covered in bright golden yellows, with bits of oranges and reds sprinkled in. It felt like the whole landscape was glowing. The views went on forever, and it really felt like we'd hit the sweet spot of the season.
Well, we made it to Tuk, and this was our beautiful campsite for the night. The drive up this way was absolutely gorgeous with all the fall colors and the rolling hills. I'm really excited to be in Alaska. I've been wanting to come here for years and years, so being here is like a dream for me. Looking forward to exploring around, hopefully seeing the Aurora quite a bit and seeing all the beautiful mountains and landscapes Alaska has to offer.
After crossing into Alaska, we didn't waste any time. We headed straight for Denali National Park. We knew the fall colors wouldn't last much longer, and there was a lot we wanted to see before they disappeared. We showed up on the first day of the year they let you drive your own vehicle on the park road, which we were really excited about. But once we got there, we found out only a small section of the road was actually open, thanks to a landslide that closed the rest indefinitely. What we could see was beautiful, but with so much of the park out of reach, it felt like something else was calling us. So after just one day, we decided to move on.
I just got a raindrop in my eye. So today's gonna be a bit of a driving and working day. We're gonna drive up to Talkeetna area and hopefully see some nice mountain views. It's kind of rainy out, so we might only see them tomorrow morning.
If that.
Yeah. If not, then that's okay. We'll just continue on our way towards, where are we heading?
To Hatcher Pass.
Hatcher Pass.
And then on to Anchorage. We are currently at Denali View North, but right now the view is, well, just a little cloudy. And we were thinking of like hanging around here and just working and hoping that maybe it peaks out, but not too far from here is this road called the Petersville Road, and I've never driven it before. It's a gravel road and it goes to a little town, and there's a little lake along the road with a view of Denali reflecting in it. And so we've decided to try the Petersville Road, see what it's like, and if we're lucky, maybe we'll get Denali with reflection. But this spot normally is quite beautiful. Like, Denali is just massive, you know, shooting up there.
Whoops. Look at that mess I created.
It's bad. Very bad. When I looked back when we stopped, I was like, oh no, all the cupboards have come open and everything's fallen out. But no. Just Krista and her scrapbooking.
So we found our spot for the night. There's a bunch of other people here, probably all hunters. We're just gonna walk down the road a little bit and we'll show you why we came here. Here's our beloved pond. It'd be cool to see a moose out there. And somewhere out there,
behind that rock, a little bit to the left.
oh, that way, okay,
Is
would be Denali.
Mm-hmm.
Hoping to get some Aurora tonight, reflecting off the pond. We're gonna stick our cameras in the bush over there and hope that they're safe. This looks like prime moose territory. It'd be awesome to see a moose come out right where Will is. are just getting our photos transferred to our Macs so we can start editing. I still have to get the drone stuff going and then everything off of my phone I need to start transferring. But for now, got everything off our cameras.
I'm excited to eat fried rice because I love fried rice, and the sky is clear, and I think there's going to be Aurora tonight, so that's also exciting.
Chicken fried rice is ready. We're gonna eat dinner and watch through the video I just finished kind of editing and see if there's anything I want to cut out. And then hopefully see some Aurora after.
Mm-hmm. You can see the Aurora. And over to the full moon. What do you think, Krista?
It's really pretty.
Oh wow, look at all the little lines.
Bright. I think this is the brightest I've seen it. Today we are driving up Hatcher Pass. It's raining a little bit, but the fall colors are beautiful. We're gonna drive up the pass, stay there for the night, and then continue the loop tomorrow.
It's gonna be fun. I've never done Hatcher Pass before. It's one of the most beautiful roads in Alaska, and somehow I've just missed it. So I'm really excited, even though the mountains might be hidden in the clouds. We're hoping for maybe some little gaps and maybe the mountains to be showing.
We were chasing the fall colors by this point. The season doesn't last long up here, so we were trying to make the most of it by hitting some of the most beautiful places while the leaves were still hanging on. Hatcher Pass took me by surprise. I didn't really know what to expect, but as soon as we got up there, I was blown away. The views were wide open, the colors were still hanging on, and it just had this calm, quiet feel to it. It wasn't a place we planned to spend a lot of time in, but once we saw it, we didn't want to leave.
And here's your friendly reminder to look in your rearview mirrors or you'll miss views like this. So pretty. basically made it up the pass. It's snowing now. Snow behind me. The wind has picked up a bit, and we have this beautiful blue lake up here with mountains. It's gorgeous. Well, we stopped at the pass and we decided to make some dinner. We're both getting pretty hangry. We didn't have lunch today. So we're making some fried rice wraps and then some plantain. We'll put the rice on.
Yum.
We got our fried rice, plantain, and we got some little taco shells to put our rice in.
Delicious.
Good?
Mm-hmm.
We woke up with a blanket of snow the next morning, which felt surreal, especially in September. Everything was covered, the hills, the van, the road. It felt like we'd jumped ahead a whole season overnight. It was a good reminder of how fast things can change up here.
Well, we got some snow last night. We woke up to winter. And we can't see any of the views, it's so foggy. But we're gonna go for a morning walk. And then I don't know what we're doing today. If we're continuing down the pass or staying here for the day. What do you think?
Well, I think we should look at the weather and see if it looks like it might clear up, and that can kind of help us make our decision. But that's the nice thing about van life is we're pretty flexible, and we find a place we like, we stay, but also, you know, we want to move on, we can always move on. Our house is on wheels.
I like it up here. It's pretty. But I wasn't ready for snow. It's like September 18th. And we got snow. But I guess that's Alaska for you. We're at the summit of Hatcher Pass. We're about 3,886 feet above sea level.
Yeah,
It's one of the highest passes in Alaska, and we stayed up here for the last 2 nights. Yesterday it was completely white out. Well, just foggy. It wasn't snowing. Well, it was snowing a little bit, but it was raining and snowing and super foggy, and everything was just white. We couldn't even see the mountains around us. So we decided to stay the extra night, and now we're doing some hikes today, and now we're going up April Bowl.
Yeah.
We got some pretty views behind us.
After the hike, we didn't go far, just continued a little ways down the pass, but even in that short stretch, the views were incredible. The mountains, the light, the last bits of fall color, it all felt like it was just showing off. Hard to drive more than just a few minutes without wanting to stop again. We took some time to explore Independence Mine State Historical Park. It's one of those places where you can walk right through old buildings and picture what life looked like during the gold rush. There's still equipment, housing, and the original structures all sitting there in the mountains. It's a quiet spot now, but it tells a pretty big story.
Well, that was a nice little hike. We're back at the van now. We're about to start our next one. We are going to be heading up there to Gold Cord Lake. Ready?
Yep.
We hiked the Gold Cord Lake Trail, and it was beautiful right from the start. The trail climbs just enough to give you big views without too much effort. At the top, the lake sits quietly in this little alpine bowl surrounded by rugged peaks. We hung out for a bit, just taking in the views.
We made it to the top. It was a short but moderate hike. The views are beautiful. The snow on the mountains is stunning. The lake has a really nice reflection when there's no wind.
Yeah.
But the views in all directions are super beautiful.
With Hatcher Pass behind us, we headed for Valdez, another place we'd been looking forward to. But of course, we had plenty to see along the way. The Glen Highway was a beautiful drive, especially this time of year. It's the kind of drive that makes you want to pull over every 10 minutes. This is Matanuska Glacier. 27 miles long, 4 miles wide, the largest road accessible glacier in the U.S. It's constantly shifting, slowly moving downhill, and it's been doing that for hundreds of years. Just a massive river of ice, still alive, still carving through the valley. You don't need to hike on it to be impressed. Just being that close, seeing the scale of it, how far it stretches, it really puts things into perspective. As the sun began to set, we got our first view of the Wrangell Mountains on the horizon. They were so massive, they almost seemed unreal. The next morning, as we continued our drive towards Valdez, the views just seemed to get more impressive. We rolled into Valdez and spent the day exploring, walked through town, checked out some of the local stores, and had dinner at the Fat Mermaid. After that, we wandered down to the harbor and watched the boats. Maybe one day we'll get a sailboat and do boat life.
We found the boat with the best name.
Little toot.
Little Toot. Definitely the best name for a boat.
Yep.
After checking out the boats, we made our way over to the fish hatchery. It was a little quieter this time of year, not a ton of fish running, but still worth the stop. We did spot a couple of sea lions hanging out near the water, which was fun to see. Even without all the action, it's a cool place to check out.
We stopped here at the Solomon Gulch Hatchery. It is the largest single-species hatchery in North America, spawning about 270 million salmon each year.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. It's a really amazing place to see wildlife. I've seen bears here before. There's like 4 or 5 massive sea lions here.
There's 6 of them here.
6 of them, okay. And between here and the end of the road, probably less than a mile, I counted 32 sea otters. So if you love cuteness, you should definitely come here.
Obviously, this time of year isn't the greatest for spotting wildlife, but we still spotted some anyways, just no bears.
Yeah, I think if you come here during peak run, the wildlife is just amazing. Like, there's basically nowhere else in Alaska that you can come and see as much wildlife in as short of a time.
We ended up spending a few days in Valdez just taking it slow. The town's surrounded by mountains on all sides, and the views are incredible no matter where you go. It's quiet, laid back, and honestly one of the most beautiful little towns we've ever been to. We packed up and hit the road again, heading out of Valdez. The drive through Keystone Canyon was stunning, waterfalls pouring down the cliffs, and the views just kept getting better as we climbed towards Thompson Pass.
Well, we found our spot for the night. Stay up here. We just need to find the perfect spot to park the van.
Might be right there, but you gotta look around first and make sure you aren't missing the real gem.
Thompson Pass really blew us away. Massive views in every direction, open valleys, sharp peaks, and this big, wide sky that just makes everything feel even bigger.
So we spent the night here last night. We had a nice night, and then the fog rolled in this morning. We couldn't see anything at all, but that's okay. But now it's time for us to move on. We're gonna head back down the road or keep continuing up the road and see what other beautiful views are down there.
We left Thompson Pass behind and started heading to our next stop.
We're at Worthington Glacier. You can see it back there. You can walk over to the viewpoint. It's about half a kilometer.
Yeah, round trip. Real long hike.
Yeah, super strenuous.
But it's really cool. There's not that many roadside glaciers like this anywhere, so anytime you can stop and see one, I always love it.
Worthington Glacier. It's one of those places you just have to see up close. Like most glaciers, it's been shrinking over the years, but it's still impressive. Layers of blue ice nestled right between the mountains. Alaska truly is special. Everywhere you look, there's something to take in. Mountains, rivers, glaciers. It's all just right there. We'd be driving along and constantly pointing things out, like, look at that, over and over. It gets to the point where you just almost get used to it, but then you turn another corner and it takes your breath away all over again. Eventually, we found ourselves in the tiny town of Chitna, where the pavement ends and the McCarthy Road begins. From here on, it was dirt, dust, and the start of a whole new kind of adventure.
Back here we have an old railroad bridge that was converted, and it's over a big canyon.
It's pretty cool. It's one of the highest bridges I've seen, and it's like one lane, and it really feels like you're way up there when you're on the bridge.
Everyone we talked to warned us about the McCarthy Road. Rough, bumpy, not great for vans, but we weren't about to skip it. We figured if the destination was half as good as the people said, it'd be worth all the bumps.
So we're here at the Gillahina Trestle behind me. This is the longest trestle on the Kennecott Railroad. There was over 30 miles of trestles actually between here and Cordova. But this incredible trestle that spans long ways was built in just 8 days. So they were racing to complete the railroad, and they really did an incredible job. They built it in the winter, and because they wanted to have it ready to go by springtime with high copper prices. So to me, it's pretty amazing that they built something using over 1 million board feet of lumber in just 8 days.
The road was rough, lots of potholes and washboard, but not nearly as bad as we were expecting. We just took it easy and kept moving. And as we got deeper in, the views really started to open up. The fall colors were thinning out a lot, but we were still catching small patches of yellow and red here and there. It felt like we were soaking up the last bit of the season before it was gone for good. After a long bumpy drive, we finally made it, and the views were more than worth it. Towering mountains, wide open space, beautiful glaciers, and the feeling of finally arriving. It was one of those moments where you forget all about the road behind you.
This was a really beautiful lake. There's actually a hike that goes around it. I'm not sure if we're gonna do it or not. We did plan on it, but the view from here is I feel like it's the most beautiful you can get here. So yeah, sunset's beautiful here. It lights up the mountains. Absolutely gorgeous. It's actually frozen right now, so if you throw some rocks on it, it sounds pretty cool. And the glacier way back there is making some wild noises. Sounds like it's really hungry or something. We had a good night and now it's the next day. We're gonna head down to McCarthy. It doesn't look like the shuttles are running this time of year, so if you come at the end of September, beginning of October, don't expect there to be shuttles to take you to McCarthy.
Yeah, the road only stays open till October 15th, so in like 16 days, and I couldn't find anything online about the shuttles being done for the season. It actually seems like the shuttles are free now, all the way to Kennecott, which is nice. But I'm gonna guess they're done for the season. So we'll see. We're gonna cross our fingers, because if we can get a shuttle to Kennecott, there's some cool things to see out there. But if not, we'll explore McCarthy and see where we go from there.
Yeah. How far is the hike to McCarthy?
It's only like half a mile,
Okay.
so it's not bad at all.
Not bad.
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
The hike into McCarthy was easy, and even though most places were closed for the season, it still felt like stepping back in time. Quiet streets, old buildings, it had a real sense of history.
So before we head on, we are going to hike West Kennecott Glacier Trail. We are now at the trailhead, and it's a 4-kilometer trail up to a glacier, and it's rated as easy. It should take us about an hour to do. We made it to the end of the trail. According to all trails, we got Mount Regal behind us. We got this beautiful view, but we're gonna hike over to that spot over there, and it looks like it'll be a better view over there.
Yep, it's been a nice hike, very easy, and mostly through the trees, but the views here are really special.
Fall doesn't stick around long in Alaska. It really hit us on the drive back down the Glen Highway. Just 10 days earlier, the landscape was vibrant with color. Now it had faded into grays and browns. The season slipped by faster than we expected. We were so glad we got to see Alaska in all its fall colors, but it left us wishing we had more time. The cold was settling in, and we can feel everything starting to shift. We weren't quite ready for winter, but it was definitely on its way. The Denali Highway, another one of those roads people warn you about. Gravel, potholes, not much in the way of services, and to make it more interesting, it had just snowed the day before. We weren't totally sure if we'd make it all the way through, but we decided to give it a shot anyways. It's one of those routes where the unknown kind of adds to the adventure.
Well, we drove about an hour down the road and we made it to our spot for the night.
It's a really beautiful place with an incredible view of the Alaska Range. Unfortunately, the peaks of the range are covered in the clouds, but it's really quite a special spot.
Mountains this big make you feel small in the best kind of way. It's humbling, it's quiet, and it reminds you that there's still so much out there that's bigger than us, and that's a good thing.
Well, we had a really lovely night here last night. We're gonna continue up the road towards Paxson. The drive so far has been really beautiful, so I'm really excited to see the rest of the drive.
This campsite is about as good as you can get. We have just amazing views of the Alaska Range. The eastern Alaska Range, while it's not quite as tall as like Denali, it has some incredible mountains, Mount Deborah, Mount Haines, and you actually can drive up really close into them, which is like something that you can't do at all with Denali.
This was easily one of the most beautiful campsites we've had, and it was tough to leave so soon. We would have loved to stay longer, but it's pretty remote. No service, no supplies, and a long way from just about anything. It still feels kind of surreal that we're here, driving through Alaska, camping in places like this. When we started planning this trip, it always felt so far away, like something we'd maybe get to one day. And now we're out here, actually living it. The scale of everything, the quiet, the space, it's unlike anywhere else we've ever been. Every day out here feels like a reminder of how lucky we are to be doing this, and how wild it is that places like this even exist.
We've driven another 20 miles or so from where we camped, and it's been a gorgeous drive. The Alaska Range was beautiful, and now we've kind of wound up from the river up kind of on a ridge. The views here aren't quite as nice as before, but still very nice. The road condition overall has not been bad. There's been a bunch of potholes, and it's been paved since the bridge. And the pavement potholes are pretty gnarly if you hit them fast. We also saw something kind of cool. We saw a side-by-side being pulled by a dog team, which is something I never really thought I would see, but I guess when you're in Alaska, that's just a daily thing.
We couldn't help but compare this drive to our visit to Denali National Park. The park's road was closed past a certain point, so we didn't get the full experience there. But honestly, this felt even better. Way fewer people, no shuttles or time slots, just us and the landscape. Out here on the Denali Highway, it felt like we had the whole place to ourselves. And while it might not have the same name recognition, the views were every bit as impressive.
Well, we found another really beautiful spot to spend the night. Now, it's not going to take you 3 days to drive this road. We're just really taking our time, getting a lot of content, putting the drone up a lot, and we take our time in the mornings. We've only left at like noon.
Yeah,
And we drove for like 3.5 hours.
something like that.
But we didn't actually drive 3.5 hours worth of distance.
Yeah.
Because we
Nope.
stopped a lot and put the drone up a lot. So just because we're driving this for 3 days doesn't mean it'll take you 3 days.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have this really, really beautiful view where we're gonna spend the night, and tomorrow we'll head on to Paxson. We had another really beautiful night up here on the Denali Highway. We have these beautiful mountains behind us that we got up for sunrise to take some photos at, and we saw 2 caribou.
Yeah, it was so pretty, so cool. One of them had big antlers, and the other one had a smaller rack, so it was a male and female. But pretty
Yeah.
cool place to see them.
It's funny how some of the most beautiful places are tucked away down the roads people tend to skip. You hear the warnings, rough road, not ideal for certain vehicles, and a lot of people turn back. But more often than not, those are the spots that end up being the most memorable and breathtaking. That was definitely the case out here. The Denali Highway had its rough patches, but nothing worse than we've seen before. And the trade-off? Huge views, quiet roads, and the kind of scenery you just don't get from the main highways. By this point, we'd driven most of Alaska's road network. We just had a few places left to visit. Winter hadn't fully settled in, but it was getting close. We had a little more time to check out some new spots before shifting gears and preparing for our biggest northern challenge yet. The Dalton was coming, and we knew it wouldn't be anything like the roads we'd driven before.
We're about to drive through a mountain to get to Whittier. It's a highway railroad tunnel that just goes through this mountain. It's 2.5 miles long, and it sometimes closes down due to bad weather. We got here about an hour ago, but they told us that we had to wait our turn in about an hour later, which is now, so that we could pass through because it's shared by trains and car traffic. So it opens up for people to go through one way, people to come back through the other way, and then also for the train to go through. So we're about to go through that anytime now.
Getting to Whittier is an experience in itself. You drive through a one-lane tunnel that's over 2 miles long and is shared with a train. It only runs one direction at a time, so you wait your turn and then head in. It's dark, narrow, and honestly kind of eerie. But when you come out the other side, it feels like you've stepped into another world. The craziest part? Almost everyone in this town lives in a single building. We'd never seen anything like it. We spent a couple of days here, walking the docks, exploring the area, and just soaking in the quiet, unusual charm of this place.
We are here at the trailhead for Portage Pass. It's a 7-ish kilometer trail, but we're not going to go the whole way. It's too cold and too windy out. It just wouldn't be fun to hike for that long, especially when the view from the top I feel is going to be even better.
The hike up to Portage Pass was a bit steep, but not too difficult, and definitely worth it. At the top, the winds were strong enough to knock you around a bit, but the view made it all worth it. The trail gives you this perfect view: glacier, lake, mountains, all in one shot. We left Whittier and started heading south, trying to catch a few more places before Alaska was fully covered in snow. You could feel the shift coming. Colder mornings, shorter days. We wanted to see as much of it as we could before everything settled into winter. Of course, we had to go down to the docks and play our favorite game where we pick our favorite boat, the one with the best name, and the one we'd want to live on.
We're heading out for our supposed to be daily morning walk. I have a feeling this is going to be one of the better ports
It's really big.
with some really nice boats.
Yeah. Seems like a lot of the nicer ones are wrapped up though. So, I don't know.
We don't know if they're nice or we can't see them.
Yeah. Leaves lots of room for the imagination.
True. The water's really blue. I think I found Will's boat. Miss Ginger.
Uh-huh.
We ended up seeing so much sea life, jellyfish drifting by, sea otters floating on their backs, and even a few fish swimming near the docks.
And here we found another boat for Will.
I found my boat.
Wild Willie. Okay, so this one is adorable. Super aesthetic, super cute. Love the little doors. Would I want to own it? Nah.
Not as much.
But it's really cute.
Don't you wait until the morning light, the morning light. Far away until you're out of sight, you're out of sight.
We ended up staying in Seward for a week, mostly catching up on editing, cleaning, and all the behind-the-scenes stuff. But with a town this beautiful, it didn't feel like work. It's the kind of place that makes you think, yeah, we could live here.
We made it to the North Pole. It is the most Christmassy town in the US, and the Santa we just drove by is really creepy.
And very big.
We're gonna go check out some of the little shops here. There's not a whole lot to see, but it's really cool that there's a town in the US that is just Christmas themed all year round.
It's pretty wild that there's a real town called North Pole, and they lean all the way into it. Christmas decorations, candy cane streetlights, Mr. and Mrs. Claus's houses, and you can even visit Santa on any day of the year. It's like the holidays never end here. It's a pretty neat place.
There we go. We get to see some reindeer.
Yeah, gonna get to meet Rudolph and Dasher and
Dasher,
Prancer.
Dancer, Prancer, Vixen, Comet, Cupid, Donner, and Blitzen.
Yeah.
How could you forget their names?
I guess I'm a Scrooge.
I love deer, so I'm excited.
Yeah, they're really cute. And normally, we've seen reindeer a few times so far up here, but normally you see them way off in the distance, and as soon as they see you, they're out of there. So this is fun. And we get to see their winter woolly coats, which is so cute.
Hello. They're so short. I didn't realize reindeer were so small.
I wonder if these are like non-Alaskan, like European reindeer or something. Because I thought like the Alaskan ones were bigger.
They're so small.
Hello, friends. That one over there is cute.
Saying goodbye to the North Pole and heading back to Fairbanks. We are back at our friend's house and we're gonna make some moose tacos for dinner. A couple of months ago, Will said, I bet there's moose in Mexico. And I was like, there's no way. Absolutely not. I'm Canadian, I would know this. There's no moose in Mexico. Sure enough, he Googled it and I was right.
Yep.
Like I am 99.99% of the time.
But today we're gonna bring the moose to Mexican food, and we're gonna make some moose steak tacos. So carne asada, but moose asada. I don't even know what that would be called, but it's gonna be delicious.
Can't wait.
We're gonna start with the marinade. Yeah.
Will looked up a recipe online and we got some of the ingredients for the marinade, so we're gonna try it out and see how it is.
Wish us luck.
These are the best tacos we've made so far.
Winter is finally here, and now it's time to start preparing for something we've been waiting to do since the start of our journey. It's the kind of thing that sounds exciting until you think about where we're actually going and how extreme it is to do this time of year. We're spending a couple days preparing, checking fluids, stocking up, doing what we can to make sure our hopefully trusty van is as ready as it can be for what we're heading into.
After 7 months to 8 months on the road, we're finally here at the gateway to the Arctic,
Dalton Highway.
to Prudhoe Bay. How does it feel?
It's exciting. This is definitely our biggest adventure yet.
We've been waiting for this moment since we started this adventure. Even since before, we knew that we were going to be doing this, and we knew we were going to be doing this in winter. So it's going to be a wild adventure.
This highway is the furthest north highway in North America. It also has the highest elevation pass in Alaska. So there's going to be some crazy Arctic conditions. There's chance of seeing muskox, Arctic fox, and if we're lucky, even polar bear.
I don't think we'll see any of those, but I really hope we do at least see one of them. Probably not a polar bear, doesn't really seem very likely, but the other two, hopefully.
Mm-hmm. And since we're going out into the absolute middle of nowhere in Alaska, we really hope the van does well and doesn't have any issues, because we're gonna be like 500 miles away from really anything. So it's gonna be quite remote. There's one gas station between here and the Arctic Ocean, and just a lot of road with truckers.
Ready to go?
Yep, before I freeze to death.
And we're going north, and he says that.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine how much it would suck to break down on this road.
Yeah.
Are we sliding?
No. Oh.
What?
Fish tailing. It's always a little scary.
I didn't feel it that time. I felt it the time I asked for like sliding. Were we not fishtailing when I asked?
A little bit probably. I don't know. Going up the hill, it's really seems to be a problem. I think our van, it's just so heavy, and even though we have good tires, it's just like roads seem to be pure ice and things. Like, I don't know, are you feeling like that kind of like, I don't know, slidey feeling?
Yeah, I feel it every once in a while.
After miles of bumpy, ice-covered roads, we finally made it to the Yukon River, one of the most legendary rivers in North America, stretching over 1,900 miles. Right now, it's not fully frozen. Instead, the surface is adorned with unique formations known as pancake ice, circular slabs that gently drift with the current. In summer, this river serves as a vital lifeline for remote communities, but in winter, it transforms into a realm of harsh beauty.
We just crossed the Yukon River and now we're at Yukon River Camp. There's food, lodging, fuel, and gifts here. So we're gonna go in and check it out.
Hopefully it's open. The open sign isn't on, but I've been here in the winter and it was open in the past. Yeah, wish us luck.
Yeah, it looks like there's some lights on in there, but can't really tell. So we'll see. So we just went in and checked it out. There's not a whole lot in there, but there's some treats. The cookies looked really delicious.
Yeah.
We're trying to be good, so we didn't get any. There's souvenirs and stuff. I was tempted to get one of the enamel pins, but I already have an Arctic Circle enamel pin from when we went up the Dempster Highway in the Yukon. It looks like there's some drinking water here as well. And we're also having some power issues, which is not good.
Yeah, this
could make or break our trip up north.
Yeah, we might either have to just go really fast and we were planning to take our time and see the sights, or we might have to actually turn around too. I have a heat lamp for the batteries to keep them warm while they charge, but it uses a lot of power. It uses more power than we generate while driving. And it takes a long time to heat them up in the morning. So like I ran it for about an hour this morning, the heat lamp, and it didn't get the batteries warm enough, even that. And so yeah, we're gonna have to see what we can do on that front.
And we need enough power to run our heat.
Yeah.
So, and our fridge, so our food doesn't go bad. And we don't want to be living in an ice box for this week-long adventure.
Yeah.
So we're at what, 75% battery right now?
Yep.
Like it's day one and we're at 75% battery, so it's not looking too good.
Yeah, not ideal.
I guess we'll figure out by tonight whether or not we can make it all the way up or if we're gonna have to expedite this trip.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, I'm gonna try a few things.
Yeah, even if we ran the lamp the whole time we were driving, like what would that look like?
So we would lose a little, that's what we're gonna try. We're gonna run the lamp a little bit while we're driving because it keeps up with the power, but it just won't charge the battery. So it covers the draw when the van's running. And so we'll only be going down about 5 amps an hour. At that rate, we have 300 amp hours of battery. So that's not too bad. And so maybe after running for 2 hours, the light, it'll be warm enough to be able to charge the battery, and then we could get another 2 hours of charge, and that hopefully would be, enough to work. But
And how much percentage does the fridge and the heat take up every night?
So it looked like it used about 8% over the night.
So if we ration our, our power, we could make it, but we also don't want to be uncomfortable.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens, but we're gonna try to do what we can, and probably we're really gonna have to limit Starlink usage now for sure.
Yeah, it looks like we're gonna have zero Wi-Fi this entire trip.
Yeah.
We might have to put it up just to be able to message our parents and be like, hey, we're not gonna have any service for a week, so if you don't hear from us in a week, we probably died.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyways, we're gonna make some lunch here. We're gonna make some soup to warm up a little bit. It's pretty chilly outside, but it's not as bad as it could be.
For
So
sure.
We're gonna have some soup and maybe grilled cheese. We'll see.
Erps.
Just lost all the cheese out of the grilled cheese sandwich. Lunch is served. We have our Starlink up, so we've been like trying to do everything we need to do on our phone real quick in case we can't use our phones or have any internet for the next 7 days.
Yeah, Starlink uses a crazy amount of power too, so if we're being power conscious, we gotta keep away from the internet. But it's good, you know, we need a bit of a technology cleanse. So, guess we get one, want it or not.
Well, we're back on the road. We're gonna drive a couple hours and see where that takes us. And hopefully our battery's charging.
Yeah, right now I have a timer set for 1 hour, and in an hour I'm going to see if I can turn off the lamp and it will still charge. It's gonna cost us 5 amp hours, but if they've warmed up enough to charge, like I insulated everything around them as good as I could right now, and it's like, if we can get them warmed up to charge, then we can drive another couple hours tonight and should be back up to a good amount of charge. But if not, we're gonna have to adjust our plans majorly.
We just passed a snowplow, and it looks like they actually take snow from the snowbanks off the side of the road and put it onto the road.
Yeah, it's really strange. But I think maybe that's to counteract the washboard and all the ice, because the snow is a lot less slick than the ice that's underneath.
Yeah, we could see the road in front of us is like, you could see the color of the gravel under the snow. But as the snowplow was coming towards us, just behind it was the road was just completely white. So it seems to work. My God, that was scary.
And another truck.
That was really scary. So we started fishing. Okay, we were going down a hill and a truck was coming down the hill from the other side. So we're meeting in the dip in the middle, and
We fishtailed pretty good. We went up
Yeah,
like
well,
45
we
degrees.
didn't fishtail yet. We passed that truck and we started coming up the hill, and another truck was coming, and then we started fishtailing as we were getting close to it, and that could have been very disastrous.
Yeah, you flashed lights at us. Got our heart race going up for sure.
That was scary.
Yeah, we were able to correct, really good and stuff, but these trucks, the road's pretty narrow, and especially when you're going up the hill, I can't slow down too much or I'll have to reverse down the hill, so it's a little balancing act for sure.
Driving the Dalton is no joke. 1 second, everything feels fine. The next, you're fishtailing on sheer ice with a massive truck heading straight for you. Out here, the road is unforgiving, and one wrong move can make the difference between making it through. The road winds through an endless expanse of forest, the trees standing resilient against the cold. They're not towering giants, but they've adapted to survive one of the harshest climates on Earth. This is the taiga, a vast biome stretching from Alaska through Canada all the way to Russia.
Well, we stopped here at Finger Mountain. It's a really cool place to come in the summer. We were gonna try to put the drone up, but it just got really windy all of a sudden.
It's got to be at least 40 mile per hour winds to get the drone to not be able to fly like this.
Yeah, it's just crazy, crazy windy.
Doors frozen shut. Come on.
You just had it open.
Ah,
There we go.
got it. Blustery. Thinks there's a bit of a drift down here. Maybe we should reverse up it.
Yeah, we'll make it.
Alright. Here goes.
Told you we'd make it.
That was really good. That was fun.
Easy peasy.
Lemon squeeze.
We made it to the Arctic Circle. Most people turn around here, but not us. We're gonna keep going. Well, we made it to our spot for the night. We drove about an hour past the Arctic Circle sign
Yeah.
in the dark, maybe an hour and a half, an hour and a half. We're about half an hour from Coldfoot or so, and we just found a pullout off the highway here. It's a little more off the highway, so it's kind of nice. I had a lot of trouble sleeping last night with all the truckers going by and being right on the side of the highway. They'd go by and you'd kind of feel the van shake a little bit, so hopefully being a little more off the highway helps. It'll still be loud, but at least we won't get the van shake as much. But just drinking some water because I'm thirsty. It's like my water baby. And we're gonna make some dinner, and we're both pretty wiped, pretty tired from just driving all day. And with the sun not being up for very long, you get tired when it gets dark. So we're gonna make a smoothie because we're lazy butts. Oh, I have service.
Actually?
No.
Oh, got me excited.
Mercy.
S'il vous plaît?
What does that mean?
I don't know. It's just something you say after mercy. Uh-huh.
You mean s'il vous plaît?
No, s'il vous plaît. Like merci beaucoup. I don't know.
Merci beaucoup.
Something like that.
Merci beaucoup.
And this is why you don't van life with a Quebecan who knows French. I could get away with that with anyone else.
Merci beaucoup. Good morning.
Good morning.
We are about half an hour from Coldfoot. We're gonna keep pushing on and drive as far as we can today. We'll probably make it to around the North Slope, hopefully. And maybe there'll be some good Aurora tonight, just like last night.
Yeah, got some beautiful stuff with the time lapse we put out, and we stayed toasty warm in our van, so we didn't even have to get cold for it. But we're now in the mountains, and so it's really pretty. The whole drive today is, it's gonna be gorgeous. So yeah, you're gonna get to see it.
Ready to go?
Yep, let's go.
Sometimes we have to wipe down our windows
Yeah.
from the inside.
At least the van's been running for a few minutes, so it's not ice anymore. It actually stays really cold up here because we have a little divider, and that keeps a lot of the warmth in the back, but it does make it so it's a bit nippy up here.
As we approach Coldfoot, we enter a place rich in history and natural beauty. Established around 1900 as a mining camp originally named Slate Creek, Coldfoot earned its current name from prospectors who, facing harsh conditions, often got cold feet and turned back. Today it serves as a vital stop along the Dalton Highway, offering travelers essential services like fuel, food, and lodging.
Hi, time to go broke.
Well, we made it to Coldfoot. There's not a whole lot here. We got very spendy gas, and we got to see a cool sun pillar coming over the mountain.
Yeah. There's a post office here too, so if you need to send out any letters,
Postcards?
I mean, this is a pretty cool place to send from. But yeah, it's a pretty small little town. Krista has service though.
Yeah, I have service. I've had service for like the last 20 minutes.
I don't, so I'm not lucky, but man, I just did not expect that.
We were talking to one of the truckers, and he was just up in Prudhoe Bay yesterday.
2 days ago.
2 days ago, and said he saw a polar bear up there.
Showed us photos. It's really cool.
It seems like both times we've driven up to the Arctic, like up the Dempster, up the Dalton, it seems like we miss a polar bear, which is kind of a rare sighting in either Prudhoe Bay or Tuktoyaktuk. And somehow we've seemed to have missed polar bears twice in a row in each of those places just by a few days.
Hey, but maybe we'll get lucky this time.
Yeah, maybe. Keeping our fingers crossed. We're debating if we want to find a way to be able to stay up in Prudhoe Bay for a couple of days just to wait and see if we can spot a polar bear. But yeah, I guess we'll see once we get up there what the situation is like.
Yeah, but maybe we'll get lucky. Hoping.
Beyond Coldfoot, the landscape transforms dramatically as the majestic peaks of the Brooks Range begin to envelop us. As we journey through the Brooks Range, we are met with towering peaks, their jagged edges dusted with snow, while frozen lakes shimmer under the soft winter light. It's vast, silent, and humbling. Just us, the road, and the sheer enormity of this landscape stretching over 700 miles across northern Alaska into Canada. This is one of the coldest places in the U.S., with winter temperatures plunging below minus 60 degrees Fahrenheit, and yet it's home to some of the toughest wildlife on Earth. Doll sheep scale near vertical cliffs, and Arctic ground squirrels survive by dropping their body temperature below freezing. When summer arrives, this landscape transforms. Lush valleys awaken, wildlife roams freely, and the sun barely sets. If it weren't for the bitter cold, we'd stay here much longer. But for now, we keep moving, taking in the wild beauty of every mile.
We're starting to make our way up the pass. I love the mountains, but I hate driving through the mountains or up passes. Anything that gets really sketchy where, you know, if something happens to your vehicle and you just roll down to your death, it stresses me out. Gives me like the worst anxiety ever. Or if you look out your window and all you see is a big drop off beside you, especially with this guy driving, very scary.
I think we got lucky here, at least Krista got lucky here. We're following an oversized load up that we can't pass, so we're going about 15 miles per hour. But it seems like they've put some sort of grip thing on the highway, because we would have normally had a little bit of a problem, or fishtailed a little bit right there,
Yeah.
but we haven't been fishtailing that much going up the pass here. And this is just the first tail. The real pass is much more intense, so
Yeah.
we've still got a lot more, but this has been a good little way to ease into it. Yeah.
Everything's just white up here right now.
It's like another world. It's so beautiful.
This remote and icy gateway through the Brooks Range is the highest elevation road in all of Alaska. This time of year, the pass is a mix of beauty and danger. The steep grade can be extremely icy, so truckers have to build up a lot of speed to make it all the way up to the top. As we rise into the mountains, the view becomes increasingly spectacular. This is the kind of drive that makes you feel so small, yet so completely alive.
What do you think of the view, though?
Beautiful. The view is gorgeous. The light on the mountains right now with the snow is absolutely stunning.
Yeah, and so we're going to continue down into the North Slope, and this is where the Arctic really begins. The North Slope is this giant slope that slopes down to the Arctic Ocean, and it's the home of Arctic foxes, polar bears, so it's like actually Arctic. You know, people say Alaska's Arctic. Nah, this is where it starts.
Crossing into the North Slope feels like stepping into another world. The land stretches endlessly, a frozen expanse shaped by wind and time. There's a beauty out here that can't be captured, only felt in the stillness of the Arctic winter. It's empty, yet alive, silent, yet powerful.
We found our spot for the night. We're just pulled off the highway a little bit, and I'm tired. It's not even that late.
It's been a long day of...
Yeah, I think that's what's doing it, making us so tired. But yeah, we found our spot for the night. We're gonna make some pasta for dinner, and we just shot some Aurora. It's really beautiful. Then after we eat, we're gonna go out and shoot more Aurora. And I had this really cool idea to make a little Christmas card. So we're gonna bring out our tiny Christmas tree, put our Santa hats on, and take a photo.
That's gonna be great. So I tried to make some brown butter pasta with garlic, but the garlic, as you can see, got a little black, a little more flame grilled than I was hoping.
A little black or completely black?
Yeah, it wasn't ideal. Chef Willie kind of let us down today.
Still tastes good.
Oh, I'm glad. Could have been better, but at least it's still edible.
The Aurora is sometimes almost still. Other times it shifts and twists, constantly changing. Never the same twice. Out here, the night doesn't just fall. It transforms as the sky performs its silent, mesmerizing dance.
Good morning!
We had the most awful night last night.
Had our first Arctic mishap on the van. Basically, 3 in the morning, the CO2 carbon monoxide alarm went off and woke us up, and it was smelling a little stuffy in there. So I had to go out. It was very cold, and I found the diesel heater. Basically, the little thing that keeps anything big from getting sucked in to the diesel heater on the air intake. All these little holes here had frosted up. So I cleared them out and turned on the fan, and 4:30 the alarm goes off again. And so basically I go and I took this whole thing off, and we were able to sleep the rest of the night. But when you're up and cold like this, it really does throw in some monkey wrenches sometimes.
Yeah,
But it's so beautiful.
it is beautiful.
What do you think of the Arctic?
It's cold.
Yeah.
It's really pretty. Other than our issues last night, everything else is pretty amazing. The Aurora last night was absolutely beautiful. I've never seen it that bright in my entire life. And it was just green and red and so bright. And you could just see it like moving. But this morning, it's just white and pink and pastel, and it's so magical. Absolutely magical. I've never seen anything like this in my entire life. It's magic. And it gets so cold up here, and I think the ice fog just makes it that much colder. Oh, it's freezing. Beautiful place, but cold.
One of the most scary things about bringing your vehicle to the Arctic and sleeping in it is, will it start in the morning? Because cold weather can really make it hard for engines to start, and you don't want to get stranded up here. So we're gonna run the glow plugs for a few minutes. They essentially heat up the diesel, and not a few minutes, a few seconds. And when the light goes off, we're gonna try. Here goes. It's a good sound.
Driving through Alaska's North Slope in winter is like entering a realm sculpted by the extreme cold. The tundra rolls in soft, undulating waves covered in snow that seem to glow under the vast Arctic sky. sometimes pale and delicate, other times heavy with storm clouds. The wind moves like a sculptor, carving ripples into the snow, shifting the landscape with each passing gust. There are no forests, no towering peaks, just a world reduced to its rawest elements. Here, winter temperatures can plummet to astonishing lows, and the phenomenon of ice fog becomes a constant companion. This dense fog forms when water vapor meets the frigid air, creating a veil of suspended ice crystals that can obscure visibility and trap colder air near the surface. Through the ice fog, everything looks surreal, muted, hazy, almost dreamlike.
Wait. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
No.
Let's see.
No.
Oh, look at there's a... Oh, it's great.
And this is why we don't roll our windows down if there's a polar bear running at us.
Ah.
Oh my god.
Herbs.
Why don't you go outside and... Oh, wait, you got it closed.
Oh.
Closed-ish.
Uh-oh. Well, we might have to like tape it up or something because it doesn't seem to be holding up. Or I might have to take the door apart.
No, not again.
Yeah. We've already had problems with this, but I replaced the window regulator little plastic clip. But I think the ice broke it, and all the cold makes everything so fragile. So, oh well.
In this far northern latitude, the sun hovers just above the horizon during the winter months, casting in an extended glow that seems to stretch endlessly. This perpetual golden hour bathes the landscape in soft, warm light, enhancing the stark beauty of the frozen tundra. It's a world shaped by cold and light, shifting with every mile we drive. Muskoxen are built for the Arctic's harshest conditions. Their thick, shaggy coats trap heat so well that even in brutal winter winds, they barely lose any body warmth. These prehistoric-looking animals have roamed the tundra for thousands of years, surviving even the ice ages. It's a strange feeling driving on a road so slick and glassy, you can almost skate on it.
I can't feel my hands. So cold, but look at the Arctic foxes.
Arctic foxes aren't just adorable, they're incredibly resilient. Their thick fur keeps them warm in winter temperatures colder than 50 below. In summer, their fur is brown or gray to blend in with the tundra. In winter, their coats are snow white and their thick tails double as cozy blankets wrapping around them for warmth. Arctic foxes are tiny explorers capable of traveling thousands of miles in search of food. In 2018, one fox set a record for trekking over 2,700 miles from Norway to Canada in just a few months, crossing sea ice, glaciers, and frozen tundra in one of the most extreme journeys ever recorded.
How are you feeling, Krista?
Cold. My toes are gonna fall off. I might be able to donate a toe to the Sour Toe Joe in the Yukon.
How are you feeling about the foxes, though?
About 10 minutes before we saw them, we were just talking about how we weren't even expecting to see muskox, and we're like, we won't see Arctic fox. We hope to, but it's not gonna happen. 10 minutes later, there's 3 of them, 3 little cuties, feasting on a caribou, some roadkill. There's also a couple of red foxes out there, and there's like a pure black one, but he's too far to get at him. The road is just pure ice right now, and the wind picked up a bit, and it's kind of like blowing us around. I feel us like fishtailing every now and then. We're going real slow. It's always sketchy when a truck comes by.
Yeah, this is white knuckle driving. Like, I thought the pass was going to be the difficult part, but this is really scary.
I'm glad the pass isn't pure ice.
Yeah, that would be terrifying. Yeah, thankfully we're only about 20 miles from Deadhorse now, so we'll make it. We're just gonna go slow, and yeah. Uh-oh. We got E8 on the diesel heater. Yeah, this is a little worrying. Not the place you want to have heater troubles. Hose out there isn't clogged or something. It's not really blowing much.
I think it just shut off completely.
It's still showing on the what do you call it? The exhaust is blowing. I think it was just taking a little while to turn on.
Well, we made it to Prudhoe Bay, Deadhorse, Alaska. It's pretty dark out, but it's not super late, and it's pretty chilly outside. And we just found our spot for the night, and we turned on our heater, and it just stopped blowing hot air. Yay. Will went outside to check, and it seemed like it was working. He came back in, and now we're getting an error code on it. So this is fun.
It's not ideal. Try again.
Not ideal at all. I really don't want to freeze and die in Alaska, in Prudhoe Bay. It's not gonna be Deadhorse anymore, it's gonna be Dead Krista.
Nah, we won't let that happen.
What's the sitch?
I don't know. I'm gonna guess it's something to do similar to what we had happened in Denver, where it's like suits clogged up in the heater.
You spent like 5 hours cleaning that out there.
Yeah, that was a unfortunate thing. But hopefully we can keep it working.
And it got really smoky in here when that happened.
Yeah, so I don't know. That's just my best guess, but I can do some looking. It gave the error code E8. And sometimes it's just finicky about starting and stuff. So, like these Chinese diesel heaters occasionally will get finicky. So we'll see what happens. Its exhaust is blowing smoke, so that normally means that the glow plug is working, but it's just not sending out any heat right now. Which heat's the important part, not the exhaust blowing smoke. It's not as bad as I thought.
Well, the heater's up and running. So that's good. I can't think of anything worse that could have happened. Well, I guess there's a lot of things worse that could have happened, but you know, being up here in the Arctic, like one of the last things you want is for the heat to just stop working.
Especially, we were a little chilly after our whole Arctic fox run. We're looking forward to the heat.
Yeah, we were pretty frozen when we got back into the van, and the heat in the van, like when the van's running, like the actual what do you call it? The heating, just the van's heating, not our diesel heater, doesn't run very well. So it took us a while to warm up.
Like, we were wearing our winter jackets all day today while driving.
Yeah. But it's nice and toasty in here now. We'll have a good night. Hopefully tonight we don't get woken up by the alarm 3 times again. But we're just, we had some dinner and now we're just having some toast and watching some Big Bang Theory before we head to bed, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Good night.
What are you doing?
Mixing my coffee and my smoothie. It's gonna be delicious.
That's disgusting.
I don't know, it's like a Dutch Bros coffee smoothie drink. It's gonna be so good.
Stop being so dramatic. It's probably not even that good.
Yeah, it wasn't quite as good as I was hoping, but
Will likes to do this thing where when he tries something new or makes some sort of a weird concoction, he acts like it tastes better than it does, and he's super dramatic about it, and he's like, this is so good. And I always call him out on it, and he's like, yeah, it wasn't that good. Every time.
sometimes it works to make me think it's good. Welcome to a reality of van life every single day. Bang! Bang!
Story time!
Bang!
Story time!
Oh no.
Oh, this is a good story. No, it's not. So we were in Valdez, and
Sorry, Krista's mom and dad.
yeah, we were in Valdez, and we were parked at a pullout for the night, and our friends were also parked there. But I was doing some journaling, and I couldn't find my pen that I do my journaling with, and it was the pen that I always use. And I was getting frustrated because I couldn't find it, and it was nowhere to be found. I tore the bed apart, I looked all over the counters, and then eventually I saw it down in the crack between, like over here, between the doors on the bed. So I dug down there for it, really excited, stuck my arm down, got it out. I was like, yay! And I got up and smashed my head on the corner of the cupboards, and it hurt so much. I started crying, and I was balled up on the bed in so much pain, and Will's there comforting me, and eventually when I sat up, my hands were just covered in blood. It wasn't funny at the moment, but looking back now, I was totally fine. But just the spot that I hit on my head, just like, your head tends to bleed a lot, so it looked worse than it actually was.
Still was very scary.
Yeah.
Don't do it again.
Our friends in the van next to us, Ken's, she's a nurse, so I feel like I could have got some help there if it was, if anything was worse than it was.
They don't make these to scrape the inside. It doesn't do a good job.
The outside doesn't even need any scraping. Okay, get started. This morning woke up and Will's door's not working. He can't get it open.
Both the exterior and interior handle are now broken.
So this is our only, like my door here is our only fully working door. The side door is little iffy.
Yeah, off and on.
So, that's wonderful. But
What happens when you drive a 20-year-old van to the Arctic? It's not all glitz and glamour van life in the Arctic. There's a reason this isn't a highly trafficked van life destination in the winter. We haven't seen a single other camper or van or anything up here, so.
and our power's been a struggle too. If you've watched our previous videos, you probably know that already, how we've been struggling with the power situation. And
Just keeping the batteries warm enough to charge. It's like, it's so cold that they don't stay warm enough, and so that's been a pain.
But, oh well, we made it up here, and I'm really happy we made it up here. I'm happy with all the experiences we got to have.
We're gonna show you around the little town here first, you know, show you what life is like in the winter, just 3 miles from the Arctic Ocean here. This is the northernmost road accessible town in all of North America, so.
Yeah. And you can actually take a bus up to the Arctic Ocean here in the summer. It runs from May to like what, September probably?
Yeah.
But in the winter, there's no way to get up there. You're not allowed to like hike up, even though it's only like 3 miles away.
Yeah, the oil fields have it all restricted and have security and
And
stuff.
also, like, I don't know if I'd want to walk all that way by myself.
With
like,
polar bears out
polar
here,
bears looking
yeah.
around. Like, there was a polar bear here like 4 days ago. So.
Yeah.
And it seems like they're actually not that rare to come a little bit down this way.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll see one.
We're gonna go get some coffee now. We just got back from exploring the Aurora. I noticed on the way in they have these big, what would you call that?
Like charging racks.
Yeah,
I don't know,
charging racks. So if you're not from a place that gets cold and snowy like Canada or Alaska, or I don't know, maybe people in like Norway do this too. But,
yeah, I'm sure.
we have to charge our vehicles. We have to plug our vehicles in the winter to make sure that our vehicle starts in the morning.
Yeah, it has basically a little heater that keeps the engine a nice temperature so it'll start up.
Yeah, so they have big charging racks out there with just plugs hanging down for everybody who's up here to charge their vehicles. But yeah, we went in, we explored the Aurora. The coffee was good, surprisingly not super expensive. There was a grab-and-go cafe. They had cookies that were like 75 cents, which was awesome. They were so delicious. We got the cranberry white chocolate chip ones.
So good.
And then we tried climbing to the top floor to see the Arctic Ocean. The top floor was the 3rd floor, so it wasn't that high, and it's snowing out. Everything's just white, so of course we didn't see it.
Maybe on a clear day. Like if you come out here and you don't want to pay for the tour, maybe you can get a glimpse of it by climbing up the top floor of the Aurora.
Yeah. I think I'd be more disappointed about not seeing the Arctic Ocean if we hadn't already seen it in the Northwest Territories already.
Definitely.
But since we already seen it, it's not too big of a deal to not be able to see it up here.
If we were getting to the Arctic Ocean now, it would be, it's more of the Arctic ice sheet, so.
Yeah, and we would not be going for a swim this
Yeah.
time. No thank you. Also prices in the stores, at least in this store, like chocolate bars were $2, not too bad. Other things were not overpriced.
Little
But
grab and go was
yeah.
so cheap.
Oh yeah, the grab and go was so cheap.
$6 for an entree, 75 cents for a cookie.
Yeah. We stopped in the general store last night and there was no prices on anything, so I don't know what the prices are like there. They might be the same,
Or they might be
terrible. So if you go there and chocolate bars are like $6, come here instead.
I wonder if I left them over there.
The keys? No. I would have saw them when I got on the seat. I always look at the seat.
Happened to unlock the van.
You always seem to lose the keys. Well, they're in the ignition.
Oops.
Will always loses the keys. Like, at least 3 times a week. I think we've decided we're gonna stay up here for another night. We're gonna see if we could plug in here and charge up. Our battery went from like, what, 70-something% yesterday to
50.
to like 50 this morning. So we're at half battery and we want to take our time going down, so it's best if we are able to charge up before we start making our way back down. We're going to try to see the Arctic foxes again today, but there's no guarantee they're going to be there again.
And they might be there tomorrow anyways.
Yeah, they might still be there tomorrow.
just turned down the road to head to the Arctic Ocean. He has hopes that we're going to be able to go, but I really don't think so.
Yeah, they supposedly haven't really locked down with security as much that when you come in the summer, you have to book your tour like 24 hours in advance so they can do a background check on you. So I don't think we have much chance of getting in, but hey, here, might as well try, right?
I wonder why it's so
Like
intense.
security risks on the oil field, I guess. Like it's a national security.
This is where the polar bear was seen by one of the truckers a few days ago. He showed us a photo. It was pretty cool.
Oh, we're slipping a little bit. Oh, I feel that. It's just such an interesting town here. Like, it feels like you're, off near the railroad tracks or something in a normal city, like an industrial area, but the whole town of Prudhoe Bay is that, and it's just warehouse after warehouse after warehouse. Trucks. I don't think I've seen a single car. All trucks. It's really a unique feeling. We're just driving around here, seeing what we can see, but I don't know, it'd be so weird to live up here.
Deadhorse feels nothing like a town. There are no cozy homes, no storefronts, just a maze of industrial buildings and oil rigs. Everything here exists to support the oil fields of Prudhoe Bay, named in 1826 by British explorer Sir John Franklin. As for Deadhorse, its origins are debated. Some say it came from Deadhorse Haulers, a transport company, while others claim it traces back to a miner's horse lost to the brutal Arctic conditions.
Here, Mr. Polar Bear. Where are you? I think we should go ask some of the construction or workers up here that are in the cafeteria there
Yeah,
if they've seen any today or yesterday or whatever.
yeah, I think that'd be a good idea.
Because you never know. They could be like, yeah, there's one just hanging out over there.
Yeah, it'd be really cool.
Maybe we just drove by it.
They blend in.
Oh, yeah. Just looked at the weather for the next day from today until tomorrow, and it's looking like we're gonna get a little bit of a winter storm up here. We're expecting about 6 inches of snow, which is quite a bit. It's not a whole lot, but it's still quite a bit of snow. Could be worse. But also it's supposed to get really windy tomorrow, and with the little bit of wind that we had on the way up here the last couple of days, it was pretty sketchy driving on the ice roads.
Also, like with visibility, if the wind picks up the
Yeah.
snow, it can come right up.
And tomorrow the gusts are supposed to get up to over like 40 some kilometers an hour, which is pretty strong. So having those gusts on the pure ice road we drove up here on is a little too sketchy. So we're just gonna take a look at Windy and see if it's better inland or if we should head out today.
Yeah.
Originally we were gonna head out today, but then we decided to stay up here for the whole day and just kind of hang out, but we'll see what Windy tells us.
We checked the Windy app, and it looks like the wind is only going to be right here in Deadhorse and on the coast, and once you get a few miles inland, it shouldn't be too bad. So we're going to spend the night, and we're going to see if we can get away with plugging in here, so we can charge up our battery a little bit to make sure that we got enough charge to continue the Arctic adventure a little longer.
Yeah. We got a little bit of work done today, and we chatted with one of the workers up here about polar bears. He doesn't think it's going to be very likely for us to see one, but that's okay. We weren't expecting to see one anyways.
It was really interesting talking to the guy. He said he's worked here for 10 years, and he talked about polar bears and grizzlies. He said there's actually a lot of grizzlies here too, which I found surprising. But the polar bears come through in fall and spring mainly before kind of moving their way out to the ice. He also told us that there's around 10,000 workers here that are like on site at any given time, and that is really impressive. We got E8 on the diesel heater. We got this yesterday too, and we were able to get it started back up, but I don't know how many times we'll be able to get it started up. It's really important that we have heat up here, so we're gonna try. I'm gonna keep trying, but yeah, this is a little worrying. Not the place you want to have heater troubles.
I had to turn on our fan. You can start smelling the not good air in here.
Yeah. Please work, heater. Please work. And E8 again. It's a low fuel error. We're gonna try to stir her up. Maybe this time it'll work. Man, I just realized something bad.
What?
How are we gonna refuel when I can't open my door? Because the fuel door flap has to be accessed by opening my door.
That poses an issue.
It does pose an issue, so I'm gonna have to take the door apart tomorrow. Yay!
In strong winds. Yay.
I'll get it figured out. And we're getting the error code again. Fourth time's the charm, maybe. It's kind of annoying that it takes like, I don't know, 10 minutes or something to actually shoot out the error code. But we'll get it. Well, we're on try number 5 and still getting E8. Yeah, it's starting to get more than a little worrying. See Krista all curled up. It's getting pretty cold in here. I'm gonna go outside and see if I can figure anything out outside looking at it, but I think we're just gonna have to keep trying starting it. I don't want to have to take the whole heater apart when it's so cold out. It's very chilly out here. Not the kind of temperature I want to be working on. Diesel heater. So hopefully I can get it fixed without having to do anything really out here.
Is that what happened in Colorado?
No.
Where you had to pull everything out?
It's a big job.
And it took you like 5 hours?
Yeah.
No.
You should probably get into your sleeping bag, bundle up, because I think at this point I gotta start looking at taking it apart.
Are you going outside?
Yeah, I'm gonna go outside first and see what I can do out there, and then I don't know, I might have to come take the seat off and yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. That we're gonna give it a whirl.
I'm gonna see if the store's still open and get Will a snack. I feel bad. Like, I asked how to help, but he said there's nothing I can do. To just get warm in a sleeping bag. Success. Got a couple of snacks. Well, the exciting moment of me coming back to the van got corrupt. The audio is just kaput.
It's gone, not there. Thankfully, we realized it now, so we can talk about what happened while it's still fresh.
Yeah, I got back to the van, saw that Will wasn't under there, and I was like, oh! I opened the door, and I was like, did you get it working? And he's like, yep.
Literally just a few seconds before I was calling her to tell her.
Whoa, look at the fuzz.
Anyway, I went out there and I actually tried blowing into the air intake, and that was able to kickstart it after a few tries. I was able to start it on the lowest power setting, and that got it going. Though I think this is probably just a temporary fix. I think there's some sort of carbon buildup in the heater, and I'll probably have to take it apart. But hopefully it'll be able to limp on until Fairbanks. We're gonna run it at full power all night tonight, which should hopefully like burn off all the carbon, or at least burn off some of the carbon enough to get us to Fairbanks, because oh man, it was not fun out there. Just for the 10 minutes, 15 minutes I was out there, my fingers and toes were already getting so cold, and I would have had to take gloves off to work on it, so.
I was thinking about that in the bathroom. I was like walking inside, like just holding things. I'm like, my hands are freezing. Like, that must really suck for you under there. I didn't know if you're wearing gloves or not.
Yeah, I would have had to take gloves off to work with those. It's a really tight space, and there's some really small bolts. It's a big job at getting it undone. But that's a job for another day, hopefully down in the sunny south, maybe Fairbanks, maybe even further south. But for now, we've got heat, and I am so thankful.
Yay. Well, today was an eventful day. It's been an eventful last couple of days. But now we're gonna check in for the night. I'm gonna watch some Big Bang Theory and head to bed. I'm tired.
Mm-hmm.